The jury in the Diddy trial just reached a partial verdict on 4 out of the 5 charges. But the most serious one, RICO, the one that the prosecution says ties this whole case together, that's the one they're deadlocked on. And let me tell you this isn't just a courtroom twist. It's a window in how people, the jurors, collapse under pressure. So let me explain. I'm Blanca Cobb, a body language expert with a master's degree in psychology, and I decode behavior under pressure, whether that's in courtrooms, relationships, or conversations that feel like cross-examinations. And we've all had a few of those. Look, what happened in that jury room isn't just about law, it's also about psychology. So here, let me tell you what happened. A little earlier today, a little bit after 4 p.m., the jury sent the judge a note, and it said, look, we've reached a verdict on counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, but we're not able to reach a verdict on count 1 because we have jurors on both sides. So count 1, like I said earlier, is the RICO, the Racketeering conspiracy charge. Again, the one that the prosecution said tied this whole thing together. So let's break this down. The RICO conspiracy isn't just about proving a crime, it's about proving a criminal enterprise. So in this case, the jurors had to decide whether nearly 20 years of alleged actions from 2004 to 2024 were part of this coordinated operation, not just isolated acts, not just bad decisions, but a system, a strategy, a long game built to protect one man and empower one man, who? Diddy. This means that jurors have to connect a long timeline with a lot of people, about a lot of people, and to develop this clear pattern. And this is a big cognitive overload, even though they've been listening to all these weeks of testimony. Now, what about these other charges? Well, they're pretty specific. Counts 2, 3, 4, and 5. There are 2 counts of sex trafficking, 2 counts of transportation for prostitution. So it seems like that would be easier to agree. It's easier to agree on what happened than to agree on what it means. So in my opinion, that's why count 1 for this group, it just like broke the group. It just kind of cracked the group of jurors. This is a classic group conflict under pressure. Look, some jurors probably feel really confident. Yep, this is an enterprise. Others, they probably need more proof. Or maybe some of them may not want to assign that level of guilt. So what do people do under pressure? A lot of times they just dig in. They stop listening. They argue harder instead of smarter. And you know what this does? It stalls the whole system. Let me give you an example here. So it's like a couple arguing about a betrayal, any type of betrayal. One partner says it was a mistake. The other one was like, I don't think so. That wasn't a mistake. That was a pattern. So they both agreed to that something happened, but they're stuck on how to define it. And that's how I'm seeing what's going down with this count 1 that's happening with this jury. And this isn't about Diddy anymore. It's about how people fracture when the stakes are so high. Look, this jury, they came in as 12 strangers. They didn't know each other. And they listened to the same testimony over all this time. And yet, on this charge, they're being asked to see like this big picture, and they couldn't quite get there yet. Look, this isn't a failure, in my opinion. This is about human limit. The law asks for clarity, but our brains, they default to fear, to doubt, to self-protection. And if you've ever had a fight where you kept saying, we're not even talking about the same thing anymore, you're just not listening, you're just not getting it, I think this is what's happening and what it looks like in court right now. Whew. Let me take a breath here. So we'll see what happens next, whether the judge accepts a partial verdict or sends them back with an Allen charge. Now, you might be wondering, what's an Allen charge? I felt the same way. I had to figure this out for myself. So let me explain to the best of my ability. An Allen charge is a special instruction that the judge gives a jury when they're stuck, like they are in this count 1 about RICO. It's you can see it like a psychological push, something like go back in there and keep talking, but don't give up. But maybe consider that what you're thinking could be wrong. So it's legal, but it's also emotional. Because what's going on in that room is that someone is probably feeling the weight of being an outlier. And in a high pressure situation, that weight can either change minds, or you know what else it can do? It can make their resistance stronger. Or the judge could give him this modified Allen charge, which was like a softer version. But make no mistake here, this is the judge's attempt to try to encourage consensus before this whole thing falls apart. So the split that we're seeing now, hey, look, you want to know what? It started yesterday with juror number 5 when he was flagged by the group. That's when the jurors sent this letter or note to the judge that said, hey, look, we're worried about this one particular juror because it seems like he can't be following any instructions. So all of this is very pressure bound for the jury. So it's going to be quite interesting to see what happens next. So make sure you like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.